Welcome to I Am Well podcast. I am your host, Gemma, a nutritionist and mindset coach passionate about all things health and wellness. I'm going to take you on a journey to discovering what health means for you and how to create a life you love living. I'm on a mission to uplift those who feel overwhelmed with what it means to be healthy, reminding you, my listeners, that nutrition is only one aspect of health, and empower you to live your best life on your terms. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I have had some time off. I spent the day at the beach and I loved it. And it just reminded me, before I get stuck into today's episode, I want to remind you to take some time off, especially if you have your own business or if you are working constantly, like 9 to 5 every day. This is a reminder that we do need to take those rest days and we do need to take time off. And this is what I teach, and then sometimes I just don't implement it for myself. So if you're listening to this now, this is me telling you, remember to take those rest days. Remember to take time out for yourself. And for any business owners that are listening, don't fret that you taking off that time is then meaning that nothing's going to happen in your business. Because I'm a huge believer in energy, and the more energy you have where you're at a high vibration, where you're feeling your best, where you're happy and you're enjoying yourself, the more that you will attract around you and things will happen. And an example of that is today I was at the beach and I got 3 new followers and 2 new subscribers to my business. And I wasn't doing anything really for the business at all. So I guess that's just a reminder. If any business owners or anyone that is feeling burnt out, it's not going to be the be all and end all if you take that time out for yourself. And I really feel like that is a good intro for today's episode, because today is part 3 of harnessing the power of your hormones. And the first one, we just kind of talked about your cycle, so understanding your cycle. Part 2 was about syncing fasting and nutrition to your cycle. Whereas today's one is all about living in sync with your cycle. So knowing when to prioritize planning and organizing, knowing when to do those reflective moments, and knowing when to go gung-ho on something, put full power into it, have more creativity. Because there are times in your cycles that you can prioritize that too. And I promise you, you'll get more done doing it that way. And then you make sure that you're including those rest days and those self-care days. So we'll get stuck into all of that. But first, I do want to mention the Holistic Method, which is our 6-week program. It is brand new and it is launching this Friday. So Friday the 27th of September, it is launching. If you are already on the wait list, you will be sent an email and a discount code on the early bird price. So there will be an early bird price for this program, and that will be announced on the Friday. However, if you are on the wait list, you will be sent a discount code, so you get a further discount off the early bird price. Now, that early bird price, we're only setting up to go for 2 days, and the discount code's only lasting for 24 hours. So put it into your diaries, make a reminder, make sure that you are on the wait list so you get that discount code, because you are going to save so much money. Huge savings here. And the Holistic Method, if you're wondering what is that and why should I join, it's for anyone who wants to create balance in their life, who's feeling burnt out, a woman who doesn't understand how to control everything, and we can't control everything. So that's why this program is teaching you then how to live in sync with your cycle, how to remove toxins in your environment. And I'm just not talking about household toxins and beauty products and all that. Like, yes, we go into that. But I'm also meaning how to put your body in a safe environment, in a loving environment, caring, like who's around you, who's supporting you, who are the people that surround you, where do you live, like what's the location like. That all comes into play within this program too. It is literally the holistic method. It literally focuses on every aspect of your health. We're bringing somatic movement into it too. Gabby has just done her course in Pilates, but also she's got a certification in somatic movement as well. So she brings a huge aspect of that to it. And the whole first module, when you sign up, you actually get access to the first module, because the first module is the biggest module out of them all, because it's all to do with mindfulness and it's a big topic. I'm a nutritionist and a mindset coach, and whenever you join my programs, I always talk mindset first, because it has a huge play in this. You know, we could talk about your diet, we could talk about foods, fasting, all of that, and your cycle. But if you're not in the right headspace, if things are triggering from your inner child or past traumas or generational trauma, then that is going to have a massive play whether, you know, you make it, whether this is going to work or not, you know, whether you see results or not. So you'll have access to this first module when you first join. The program doesn't officially start until end of October. So it'll be I think it's the 27th as well of October. That's when it officially starts. But when you join, you get access to the first module, which is, as I said, a big thing. Like, it's huge. And there's heaps of PDFs. You're going to have some meditations in there too. So don't miss out. Join the waitlist and you will get the discount code off the early bird price. For the link for that, it will be in the show notes below. So check it out there. Okay, let's get stuck into today's episode. I love talking about living in sync with your cycle, because I never got taught when I was in school. I never got taught about a woman's cycle. We never got taught about periods, about ovulation. Like, I can't even believe we didn't really talk about it in science. It's just insane that women don't get taught this. I have no idea what the curriculum is like now, but I do have some teacher friends and it sounds like they still don't talk about it a lot now. And I think it's so imperative to know this, because especially with so much mental health out there, you know, mental illness out there. So we've got anxiety and depression on the rise, and women aren't understanding that there's certain parts in their cycle where it is actually natural to kind of feel those ways. And once you understand it's your hormones and they're just kind of sending you a message of some sort, then you know how to listen to it, how to take control of it, and it completely changes your whole mindset and your whole life. And really, like, we just don't know enough about it. So I've already taught you about the cycle. I've already taught all that. So today, as I said, we're syncing things to the cycle, everyday living to your cycle. So let's start off with exercise. I'm not a huge, I'm not a PT. I don't have a lot of knowledge in somatic movement and all of that. But I do know a little bit about when it is best to exercise, well, different types of exercise throughout your cycle. So during that follicular phase and that grow phase, that's when you want to start slowly building up exercise again. Days 1 to 5, when you bleed, you kind of want to ease into it. You don't want to go gung-ho. You don't want to burn yourself out, because I hate to say this because I hate saying like women are like emotional, but technically that day 1 to 5, all your hormones have kind of crashed and you are feeling really emotional. So you can be quite sensitive at that time, and we don't want to burn yourself out. So don't go too hard too fast. Ease your way into it. Like, it all depends also your activity level. So if you're like an athlete, your slowing down and taking it slow is going to be different to someone who's like just started exercising and working out. So remember that, okay? This is very generalized advice around exercise. So when we're in that bloom phase, which is any time from like day 11 to day 15, that is where we have that testosterone high. It's at its peak. So this is actually the best time to do more weights. When I say more weights, do heavier weights, but less reps. So heavier weights, less reps. If you are just lifting weights for the first time in your life, like I wouldn't go crazy and go the heaviest and then hurt yourself or make you feel burnt out for the next phase. But I would go a little bit heavier than what you've been doing. You know what I mean? Like if you've been doing like 2 kilo weights, go up to like a 3 or a 4 and do less reps, because your testosterone is there. That is your greatest time to build that muscle. And more muscle for women is imperative for our health. More muscle means preventative of health, preventative of illness. It is going to help you as we age. Like as we age, we deteriorate that muscle. So we need to keep it up and we need to build it up. You just think about it, like when we're older, like, you know, your grandparents and stuff, if they fall over, how serious is that? Like we're so much more cautious then and we're so worried. But if you had that muscle there, you're so much less likely to hurt yourself if you end up falling over. And I'm always thinking about the future. And so I don't just think about gaining muscle for the way you look, but I'm thinking about it for future me. Future me will love that past me decided to do this. So lift heavier weights, but less reps. I also skipped over the grow phase, but so after you bleed from days like 6 to about 10, that's when you can start doing more things, like maybe going for runs. You know, estrogen is building here, and remember, estrogen can actually handle stress. So you could do more of those ice plunges too. I know everyone's really big into the cold plunges, like they're really good. You could try those. Anything because that kind of stuff does put the body under a bit of stress, but estrogen can handle it. So it's okay to do that there. And then that's why it's okay to do a little bit more in that bloom phase, so the day 11 to 15, because estrogen is at its peak. So it's okay to do that kind of stuff. Then when we lean into the nurture phase, this is the biggest, like, cautious around exercise. You want to lean into more like hiking and yoga sort of things. It's called your nurture phase for a reason, right? So it makes sense. You don't want to be I wouldn't even do cold plunges. If you're used to doing cold plunges, try not to do it in your nurture phase, that luteal phase, so that day 16 up until you bleed, because progesterone is trying to build there. And remember, progesterone doesn't like stress, and it won't like stress on the body. So try not to do like cold plunges. Once again, I'm going to say this is very generalized advice. So if you're like an athlete, I get it. It's hard to adjust. Do what you can where you can. You know, this isn't a one set rule for all. Nothing I ever say is going to suit everyone out there. That's just impossible. And you should never believe that there's one rule that fits everyone. I'm not going to say that fasting works for everyone. You know, like fasting is going to resonate with some people, but not others. And that is fine. This is just my generalized advice, and take it as you will. Okay, so that was just a little bit on exercise, because I just felt like exercise is kind of really important when it comes to our health, and how do we sync that into our cycle. As I said, I'm not a PT, and I don't know, I don't have all the information on this. So if you want to learn more, reach out to me, because I do have a few connections and I can, you know, put you in the right direction. Okay, so managing stress. This one is a biggie. I just feel like I've talked about stress before, but I want to really reiterate here how much it can impact our hormones as women. And we know a little bit about this. Like, we know that stress can, you know, stop our period, and it could make our period heavier. But women, we just push ourselves to the side, and we just do what we just be there for others. Like, that is just such a thing. Women are such nurturers and carers. Like, that is such a thing for us to do. So I really want to remind you to start managing your stress, because your stress is going to impact your health. As I said, estrogen can handle stress. But that day of bleed, like, try not to do it too much there. The best time, if you have anything stressful come up, like if you've got a bill or something, or you have some crazy list of things to do, I would chuck that at the time of where you ovulate, because where you're ovulating, you have more mental clarity there. You have better communication skills there. You will be better able to cope with it there. Your emotions are higher, so you're not going to be as vulnerable, get so upset. That is the best time to problem solve there. So if you can prioritize your stress, I know that sounds crazy, but if you can, do it there. And it's possible. The only thing is that we just have to get organized. It's about organization. And I always put this in, I've been putting this in the show notes lately, but if you want to start tracking your cycle and start syncing it and stuff, I do have a free syncing tracking calendar that I will put in the show notes below. Grab that and start syncing your business, your life to your cycle. Start tracking your emotions and your symptoms, and things will become clearer, and all of a sudden you will be able to understand when to prioritize things and when to do certain things. And that's what we call harnessing the power of your hormones, okay? They're powerful. So now I'm going to talk about productivity hacks for your menstrual cycle. So if you have a business, or if you are a busy working mum, or if you're a mum working from home, or, there's so many different scenarios. If you are just feeling overwhelmed and burnt out and you feel lack of energy, I highly recommend for you to listen to this next part, write it down, maybe re-listen to it, but you should start implementing this into your life, and I bet you will see changes, because I have. And if you have heard any of my episodes, sometimes I go off on a tangent, sometimes I think of other things, I'm up and down, and I feel like that's the ADHD in me, I just can't think, I can't focus my brain on one thing, I'm a multitasker. And I know there's so many other women out there like that. So if you start implementing these hacks, I promise you it's going to make a huge, huge difference. The biggest thing is you just have to be a bit organized, and you have to prepare things. You have to book things in. So if you're not that kind of person, I promise you, if you just give it a shot for just the month, plan the month before, try to implement it, see what happens, and let me know, because I bet you'll notice a difference. So the menstrual phase, that day 1 to 5, when you have your period, write this down. When you have your periods, day 1 to 5, this is where you want to rest and reflect. Okay? So I know we talked about exercise and how you can start doing more things in here, but remember, in this phase, we need to take it slow. So we want to do more low energy tasks here. So reviewing, reflecting, you can do a bit of brainstorming. If you've got a business, look back on the past month. This is a great time to look back on the previous month that you just had. Yes, it might not be in sync, like it might be like halfway through July or something, but that's okay. Look back on the last 4 weeks of business. This is a great time to review the month before. If you're, budgeting, or if you're doing any sorts like that, look back on the month before. This is the perfect time to do that. So you journal as well. Journaling here is really going to help give you that mental clarity. Seeing it on paper is really going to help during this time, because you might feel a bit overwhelmed. You might feel a bit flat. So putting it out onto paper, getting it out there, is going to help you during this phase. You could do goals, like goal planning, and plan for the upcoming month. all of that is a perfect productivity to do during this time. So then we go to the follicular phase, which is days 6 to 14. Technically, that's the follicular phase. So this is where your creativity and we call new beginnings start happening. So if you want to plan anything new, if you have some idea that's been brewing, that is the time to start getting it done. So anywhere from days 6, so when you stop bleed pretty much, up until just before you ovulate, which I give the ovulation windows day 11 to 15. So we don't know exactly what day you're going to ovulate on. Maybe you do, maybe you take your temperatures, your basal temperature levels, or maybe you track it. I don't know. But if you don't, just give it a rough idea. Day 16 to 14, you'll kind of understand with your mood. You'll know when you kind of ovulate, you might get some cramping, those sorts of symptoms. As I said, the more you track, the more you'll end up knowing. But overall, we'll just go from day 6 to 14. This is the perfect time to start new projects. You have the most mental clarity here. You will feel better here. You will start to be more productive and you'll have more motivation to get things done. So start brainstorming here, start new projects, tackle any problem solving here. So if you do have any bills or anything has been stressing you out, and something's not working with the business, something's not working in your life, this is the time where you can try to tackle it and problem solve it. Your brain is it's more open-minded here. So you might look at things differently in this area than you would have before. This is actually so much better to do some creative, critical thinking here and looking outside the box than the week before your period, because you're going to be very cynical and judgmental of yourself the week before your period, so you don't really want to listen to that brain. Here is the time where you can be more cynical and looking at yourself, because you're going to feel better and you're going to be feeling more open-minded to go for other options or other directions. So perfect time to book in this section is doing some strategy sessions, goal setting sessions. This is all creating and planning. If you run a business and you do your content creation, for example, this is the time to do it. I know some people jam pack it all in a couple of days or something. Why don't you book out this time from day 6 to 14 of your cycle and book it in then to plan your content for the next month, or do your content for the next month. Actually implement it there. Take the videos, take the talks, create the posts, do it all here. That's a great time to do it. And then we've got the ovulatory. So on that specific day where you ovulate, this is going to be, so I would say still focus this kind of overlaps with the other one. So this is going to be anywhere from that days 11 to day 15. So it is going to overlap the follicular phase a little bit. This is where you're going to have, you'll notice the more you track your symptoms and your emotions, this is when you'll know. So this is where you're going to be more social, you're going to have more energy, you're going to do more collaborations, you're going to want to do more communicating here. This is your communication and collaboration window of opportunity, okay? So schedule meetings here. You could do presentations, networking events. If you are organizing a networking event, perfect time to do it in that phase. You're going to be more verbal, social skills are going to be best here. And you're just going to be better able to connect with others, and you're going to be better able to lead. So if you do have a business meeting you need to book in, if you are doing a big talk, if you can do it in this time, because I promise you're going to do so well and you're going to surprise yourself with how well you're speaking, how well you're doing. I know you can't always plan everything, but if you can, remember this. If you're trying to think, what day should I do it on? Go to your cycle. Look at your cycle. That will actually help you so much. Then the next one is the luteal phase. So this is your nurture phase, okay? So this is where we want to focus and we want to complete any work we haven't yet completed. So if anything that you have been procrastinating on, you haven't finished, you're dreading, doing it in the luteal phase will actually work for you. It'll work better for you. During that ovulatory follicular phase, that overlap where you're feeling like really creative and stuff, that's the perfect time to start new projects. But the luteal phase, you shouldn't start anything new. You should just fix things. So during that nurture phase, don't start any new projects. Trust me. Just finish the ones that you've already done, because this is the time to get that stuff done. If you start things, and the only reason you're going to feel like you want to start things is because you've got that critical thinking brain there at that time that's telling you, maybe, you're doubting yourself. Maybe you shouldn't have done that program like that. Maybe you should do it this way. And it's going to tell you to create something new, to do something different. And you might get motivated and have the energy to do it. And you're like, oh, I'm so excited, a new project's brewing. Believe me, I have been there where I'm like, oh, I should do this. And I start to go down the track, and then I'll get to like my follicular phase, so that grow phase. And I'm kind of like, oh, wait, I don't really want to do this. What have I done? Like, why have I started a new project? Now I'm like so overwhelmed. Like, don't listen to your brain when it's wanting to start something new there. Listen to yourself when you want to finish things off. This is the perfect time. If you're a procrastinator, book it in for your nurture phase to finish things off. It's a perfect time for completion. It's great for deep focusing. You also want to try to organize yourself and tidy up yourself here. So tidy things around you, pre-plan for the next month, or you just want to be feeling really organized here, because that's going to help you even more focus. Avoid overloading in this time, and as I said, starting anything new. But you don't want to do too much here. You don't want to book too much in this time, and then you're so burnt out, you're so stressed that then all of a sudden you're not having a period. This is why it matters to sync your cycle, to sync your life to your cycle. This is why it matters so much to make sure that, so that you can have those hormones balancing, right? So I just want to say, like, trust in your body. Use that tracking tool that I've given you. Start tracking your emotions, your symptoms, and you will learn so much. You might learn more than I'm just saying in this podcast episode. Like, you might even know the exact certain days where you should and shouldn't do things. But guess what? You have the power. You take control. You will understand yourself better than anyone else. Someone will say something and you'll be like, no, I know who I am. I know how I work. And this is what I need. You'll be so much more confident. And the more you start doing this stuff, like start syncing this to your cycle, the more things around you start to change. I was a person who was always like, go with the flow, do whatever. Everyone said I'm a Sagittarius. I'm not huge into star signs, but everyone always tells me all the time, yet that is like someone who just goes gung-ho and everything. It just goes, has a lot of creativity, has a lot of ideas, does everything, but just doesn't slow down and sometimes doesn't finish things off. I actually got told that today and I started laughing because I was like, yeah, that's kind of me. So when you actually force yourself to or track and plan things to your cycle, it forces you to take that breath, to make sure there's times booked in for reviewing, to make sure there's times booked in for self-care, and then knowing when those times are where maybe you do want to announce a big project or a big launch, and maybe that is the best time to launch it during that ovulation phase, because you know that you are going to have all these neurotransmitters stimulated. Like, remember, when estrogen is its highest, it is stimulating acetylcholine, which is great for like holding on to new information, critical thinking. There's the BDNF, great for holding on to new information. There's serotonin, dopamine, so your mood's going to feel heaps better. There's GABA, which helps you to chill as well. It helps you to relax and think open-mindedly. So when that is all high, that is your perfect time to start something new, to create something, to launch that program, because you are going to be in your best state of mind to do that. You're going to come across so much more confident. And maybe you don't even have a business. Maybe, this is just a woman who's working 9 to 5 and you have kids. this is the perfect time to go do something for yourself. Because I know nurture phase, we do want to have some self-care in there, but you also want to enjoy your time here as well. While everything's high, while you're feeling amazing, go do something for yourself. You deserve it. That's me telling you, you deserve it. When you are tracking your cycle and your symptoms, it's really important that you do review it. So when you're in that nurture phase, or when you're in the day 1 to 5, like when you're on your menstrual phase, review what you've put in, what your symptoms were each day. Have a look, because it's really going to tell you a lot. Not only is it going to help you with productivity and organizing your life, but if anything to do with your health comes up ever, you're going to have such a clear, definite picture because of all that tracking that you've done, that you can bring it to your doctor and say, well, on this day I was feeling this I was feeling this, and my hormones were here, this, you are going to know it all. And then that is just such a helpful step for any doctor out there, or any holistic doctor as well. It's going to give them such a huge picture, and you are going to be, a couple of steps ahead of the game. So let me just recap. We've got days 1 to 5, when you bleed, rest and reflect. Days 6 to 14, which it kind of overlaps. So day 6 to 11, creativity and new beginnings. Day 11 to 15, somewhere there where you're ovulating. If you're tracking, you'll know when. We have your best at communication and collaborating. So go out there, do your social skills, work with other people, collaborate with other brands. And then in your luteal phase, this is where you want to focus and complete things. So listen back to this, write it down, and start tracking your cycle. And I promise you're going to see massive changes. Take power in knowing that your hormones are amazing. They are not the villains here. They are not just giving you these symptoms for no reason. They're trying to connect with you. They're trying to tell you something. Listen to them and change your life by doing this. And you will change your life, your health. You will feel so much better as this most powerful woman. Our cycle is powerful. It goes back into ancient history, where women, they always used to think their cycle was powerful. But then as society got older and we got more modern, we started villainizing the cycle. And I reckon it's all part of to do with the patriarchy, but we started to say periods are embarrassing, they're bad, and all of this stuff, they're icky, they're yuck. And that was tearing us down. But back in the day, it was seen as beautiful, transformative. It was a way of life, and women were seen as powerful. We need to get back to that. So start believing in that, and that's what I want to believe in. You get to choose what you want to believe in. Believe in that. So anyway, that is the last part in this 3-part series of harnessing the power of your hormones. Please take this information on, because I know you'll see changes, and when you do, please let me know. Don't forget to leave me a rating and review. It means so much to me, and I love reading them and sharing them. Thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you all in the next episode. Bye, guys.